This is KGW News at Sunrise.
The 2024 Oregon legislative session kicks off today. It is a short session lasting less than 2 months. We've got a crew live in Salem this morning to break down lawmakers' top priorities.
We also have a man named Rod Hill on the show this morning delivering a forecast. I promise you this week's forecast does not involve that, at least not in the Valley.
Well, we could change it, We could change the forecast.
Don't change it unless it's accurate, Rod. So we're not talking about snowfall in the Valley, but we are talking about the science behind snowflakes. That story coming up a little bit later this half hour as well.
Good Monday morning to you. Glad you're here with us. It was a beautiful weekend. Did you guys get out?
Snow was the part of this thing for my mind this
I know,
weekend.
me too. It was gorgeous out.
It was really nice. Played golf yesterday. Unfortunately, we played when the east winds were also picking up. They came to life like that.
So that was the excuse.
Yeah, it was, huh?
Yes. Yes, that ball was.
Always
I didn't hit
something.
the ball that way. That's the wind. All right, take a look at what we have this morning. Just kind of a typical week for us. It's going to be rain at times, but there's no big weather systems coming. Temperatures generally going to be about normal, which this time of the year for highs are upper 40s into the low 50s. This morning we've got rain mainly on the west side, but there are some scattered snow showers at this hour out across the east as well. Here's a closer look at Doppler radar. Right now, dry Salem to Portland, everything's been moving south to north. We've all had some rain, and we do have snow over the Cascade Passes this morning. At Government Camp, temperatures just above freezing, but if you're traveling up that direction, snow levels generally around 4,000 or maybe even a little bit lower at times. Bricks are wet, and we're at 47 degrees. Here's your day. Steady temps. I've got us 48, rain at times around the area at noon. Same thing later today, and 46 at 5 p.m. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Little road spray to go with your morning coffee and your commute coming down the Sunset on the on Highway 26 from the zoo to the Vista Ridge Tunnel. It's just a couple of cars making that drive right now. Here's a live look over on the east side from Airport Way. We're looking at I-205. There's your southbound commute coming across the Glen Jackson Bridge. That looks good as well, as does the Banfield. So the freeways are in pretty good shape. But guys, heads up later on this evening, the St. John's Bridge will be closed every night this week for the biannual bridge inspections. So the St. John's Bridge a no-go starting at 10 p.m. until as late as 5 a.m. the next morning. That first closure starts again tonight at 10.
All right, Chris, we appreciate that update. Right now, we want to get to our top news headlines this hour, and we start with a fatal hit and run that happened just a few hours ago in southeast Portland. This is a live look we're going to show you right here from that scene. Police say a car hit and killed a man at the intersection of Southeast 82nd and Flavel, and the person behind the wheel sped off. They responded to this call shortly after 2 a.m. Right now, Southeast 82nd remains closed between Malden Court and Henderson Street. Investigators also have Southeast Flavel shut down between 80th and 84th. So far, police have not named any suspects.
And a car hit and killed another pedestrian in southeast Portland. It just happened before 6 o'clock last night on Southeast Foster Road at 97th and Woodstock, just off I-205. Police say the man was dead when they arrived, but the driver who hit him stayed at the scene. Later today, Oregon lawmakers will be gathering at the Capitol for the first day of the legislative session. And among the big priorities are housing, homelessness, and drugs. Devin Haskins is live in Salem for us this morning with a preview. Good morning, Devin.
Yeah, good morning. So with it being an even year, this is what's called the short session, meaning Oregon legislators only have 35 days to introduce bills that they'll either pass or vote down. Last week, Governor Kotek and lawmakers spoke with reporters and laid out their plans for this upcoming session. Governor Tina Kotek has one goal: more housing.
We have a critical shortage of housing supply across the state, and that is why, as I've been saying, my number one focus for the legislative session is to put as much as possible into the effort to improve housing production.
In her sole bill going forward this session, she's asking for $500 million from existing state resources for a variety of housing projects. The bill would also allow cities to adjust their urban growth boundaries under certain conditions.
Oregonians know the status quo is not working on housing production.
House leaders agree.
We are committed to getting production up. We have to, but there has to be conversations when it comes to land use.
Another big topic, drugs, and the impacts of the voter-approved Measure 110, which decriminalized them.
We want to see a significant fix to ballot Measure 110.
The two sides have a different view of what needs to happen. Democrats want to make it a low-level misdemeanor, a Class C, whereas Republicans want to make it a Class A misdemeanor, the highest level.
I want to see the penalties raised for drug deaths from drug dealers and making that connection, because I think it's there.
Governor Kotek was asked about it and sidestepped a question about whether she'd sign a bill that recriminalized drugs.
I want to make sure that all parts of the bill make sense and we're actually going to have outcomes. The issue of addiction and the need for pathways to recovery should not be a political football.
And a big focus will be looking at how Republican senators react during this year's session. Because of the voter-approved Measure 113, a 6-week-long Republican walkout last year made 10 Republican senators ineligible for re-election after their term expired because they had 10 unexcused absences. On Thursday, it was upheld by the Oregon Supreme Court.
And they barred 10 Republicans from running for office this cycle and next. It's about half and half. So we will continue to serve and do the best we can under the limitations that have been provided.
Will you appeal this?
I will personally not be appealing this particular decision.
So last week when they met with lawmakers, I asked Senator Ting Knopp if they plan to walk out again this session. Knopp answered that by saying Republicans just want to be heard, but also followed it up by saying that nothing was off the table. The short session ends Sunday, March 10th. Back to you.
Thank you for that report, Devin. And tonight at 6:30, Pat Doris and the team from The Story are going to be at the Capitol, meeting with lawmakers on both sides to dig into their plans. The Story is dedicating the entire half hour to the upcoming session, including a step-by-step guide on how you can weigh in on the issues that are important to you. You can catch their full half-hour special tonight at 6:30 here on KGW.
All right, before we get back to Rod Hill, a quick sports note here, a pretty big one. The Pacific Northwest will be part of the biggest soccer stage on the planet when the World Cup returns in 2 years. So Seattle is going to host 6 World Cup games in 2026. The CEO behind the Seattle group that's organizing this huge opportunity says at least 360,000 fans are expected to check out the action at Lumen Field during the 2.5 weeks of those matches. Again, we're still a couple of years away in 2026, but that is big news for the Seattle area for sure.
Well, and maybe us too. I mean, if they're visiting Seattle, maybe they'll come on down to Portland, visit us.
Probably need a bigger stadium than we have, I'm guessing.
Well, I think she means as far as fans can now go to the
I'm
World
talking
Cup.
about tourism.
Yes.
I'm saying maybe we'll benefit from that.
Well, we can get to a soccer game now for the World Cup without flying.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
could drive to
Very
one.
true. A lot of international travel into the Northwest. That's great. Here's a look at our satellite picture. We've got low pressure system off the northern California coast. We've also got some rain still filtrating into LA. It's been wet down there. Over the weekend, they were getting a lot of rain while we were having all the beautiful sunshine. But this low is the one that started to kick up our east winds yesterday, brought the clouds in, and now we have the rain. It seems like every weather system as of late, it's all been coming from south to north. And that's the same movement of the rain coming up to our area today. We do have snow down to Cascade Pass level, but we're probably looking at only a few inches of pass level at most today, although we haven't had any in a while, so that's nice. And then we've got scattered rain and snow showers out across the east. Here's a closer look at the radar right now. Just kind of rain coming and going, cloudy skies, a very typical Monday for this time of the year. 47 is comfortable outside. Temperatures probably going to hold pretty steady today. 49 degrees is what I have for Portland's high, in fact. Right now we're at 47. 45 down in Salem. 42 up in Seattle. Bend's above freezing, but cooler in the mid-30s, and Burns above freezing, and in the mid-30s this morning at 36 degrees. Here's our Futurecast movie for you today. So in a perfect world, this is exactly what the radar would look like as we go through the day. 8:30 this morning. Raining in more areas than not. We've got the snow falling at Cascade Pass level, so just realize you could be getting into some icy roads up there potentially. Here we are at 2:30 this afternoon. Little change, still just rain coming from south to north up across the area. Now once we get into this evening, here's 7 p.m., the amount of moisture quickly starts to taper off and becomes only a few showers overnight and only a scattered shower threat on Tuesday. Here we are at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think we'll have some sunbreak activity tomorrow. Tuesday really looks to be pretty nice. And then here we are Wednesday morning. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a switch for us. All the weather systems will start coming down from the northwest. And this does show more snow at Cascade Pass level, even some snow in the higher elevations of the Coast Range, but not down to the highways themselves. So if the forecast holds true, there would actually be some decent amounts of fairly fresh snow going into this upcoming weekend for skiers and boarders up on Mount Hood. All right, upper 40s to maybe somebody hits 50 today. Rainfall up 2, but no more than around 1/4 of an inch. Northeast winds were breezy yesterday and last night. They're already starting to calm down a little bit today. We'll go northeasterlies 5 to 25. Up in southwest Washington, battleground 47. Winds in the West Gorge today to about 30 or 35. All winds will be easing during the afternoon. So 49 today. Tomorrow not as gray. Partly sunny skies. Lots of dry time, 52. And then back to rainy weather times Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday. Right now, if nothing changes, Saturday would become dry during the day, and we get back into a sunny Sunday. How about that? That's your forecast.